Hello, I'm Miss Linnea Lark, and this is Illustrate Away, episode number 16. This week our theme was fairy tales, so exciting week. Okay, so today I have a question from Ivan. It's a pretty heavy topic, honestly. I'm going to do my best at talking about my feelings about it, and I'd love for you guys to share your feelings about it. But Ivan asks, have you ever felt like you could have done something to help someone, but in the end you didn't end up doing anything and felt regret right after? Yeah, I'm pretty sure we have all felt that way, where we knew we could have helped someone, but because we were afraid or we were a little cowardly, we didn't do what we knew what was right, and so we ended up feeling regret and shame afterward. Sometimes, and I think we all feel regret when we do bad things or wrong things, but I think when we forget to do right or are too cowardly to do right, that also can bring shame. And so my initial response was to think of a time that was appropriate to share. And so I just want you all to know that just like every other human in this world, I have deep shame about moments of my life or my reactions to people or bad things that I've done. I don't think that there's anyone on this planet that you won't find has shame. But this is a moment when I was in college and I was in my Philosophy 101 class, and the teacher was asking for a response about a controversial issue. And so basically, it's a little bit of a mature situation, so I can't really talk about it in too much detail. But basically what she was saying is that there's a culture, and she shared a cultural practice of theirs where it was the norm. And basically in this norm, it was that a wife or a woman would be abused emotionally and physically. And it was just a cultural norm. It wasn't, she basically explained that they've been doing this in this country or in this, culture for, hundreds and hundreds of years. It is the norm in their society. And so she asked all of us to think about it. And then she asked those of us who thought that it was wrong to raise our hands. And I was flabbergasted because there was probably about 40 people in the room and we were all smashed in there together. And only 2 or 3 of us raised our hands that we believed that regardless of culture, regardless of history, regardless of time and geography, that abuse of women was wrong, always, all the time. Only 3 of us raised our hands, and I was one of those 3. And then everyone else, for the most part, raised their hand that it was okay. Basically, they didn't think that it was right for the Americans to come in and be like, well, the abuse of women is wrong. Even though your culture and society believes in it, we don't want to say that it's okay for us to impose our moral beliefs on anyone else. Now, I rose my hand. I believe that it's wrong. I don't think that culture or anything should trump the fact that if a person is being abused, it's wrong. But what I regretted was, there were only 2 or 3 of us that rose our hands, and she asked for one of us to speak out on why we believed that it was wrong, and none of us did. Honestly, after seeing over 30 kids raise their hand that they thought it was, okay, and to realize I was in shock. There was a piece of me that was like, what? Why doesn't everyone think that, it's wrong to abuse people? But what I regret is that I did not speak out about how I felt, that I did not passionately, defend equality and stand up for the fact that abuse is wrong no matter where you are. So I was a bit of a coward that day, and it's one of those moments of regret, of shame that lives in my mind. But what I want you to know is that shame, that regret, has actually been a powerful moment, a powerful tool in my life. Because whenever I am afraid to stand up for what I believe in, whenever I am ashamed of being a minority in a view, it gives me courage. Because I remember how I felt after. I remember how I felt like, man, I should have said something. I should have spoke up. I remember feeling really bad about myself that I wasn't more courageous. And there have been several times since then that I remembered that moment and decided to speak my truth in my mind because of that moment of shame. And so let's take a little moment here to talk about shame. What I want us to take away from this talk is that shame, if you use it right, it can be a powerful tool in your life. So first of all, I want to define shame. Shame is a painful feeling of humiliation caused by knowing that something you did was wrong or foolish. So I think we've all been there. We've all felt like dumb or humiliated, or we felt like we were in the wrong. And those moments, they're kind of horrifying. And honestly, I've shared a lot of my most humiliating moments on this channel. And believe me, I can laugh about it now, but when they were happening, like wow, you know, I could barely look at people. I couldn't sleep in the night. You know, these shameful moments, they stay with us. And I've only shared my light, funny ones, but the deeper, harder ones are even worse, especially when you're trying to fall asleep at night. And so the other part of shame, the other type of shame, you know, that was a noun that I shared with you, this feeling that we get. But you can also use the word shame as in a verb, and that's to make someone feel ashamed. And I don't think it's necessarily wrong to convict people of their shame. I think that you have to do it in a sweet, kind way and not with the intention of them feeling ashamed. And what I'm thinking about is, as a teacher, I definitely have had moments of this. I just remember this moment last year where kids had skipped class. You know, I had to talk to them about what they had done was wrong. And basically, I was trying to convict them that what they had done was wrong. So there's going to be moments in your life when you're having relationships, when you're having discussions, when you're schooling your children, or if you become a teacher, you're going to have to convict people of their wrongs at some point. But what I want to say is that you got to be careful when you do that, because first of all, you never know what someone's capable of bearing. You might be a strong person. You might be able to deal with, you know, someone convicting you of your shame in a really harsh way. You might be a really strong, you know, personality in that way. But all of us are of different strengths of heart. And some of us are weaker than others. And so you have to really be careful, you know, when you're trying to make someone see things your way. The other thing is that I remember when, you know, when the internet was really getting big, when I was in college, and I remember this picture of this parent had posted of her kids, a boy and a girl, I think, and they had been fighting, I guess, and she stuffed the two of them into a giant t-shirt, and she made them take a picture and hold a sign that says, I've been bad, I can't get along with my brother or sister, and so we have to learn how to, you know, get along. And basically the point was putting them in a t-shirt. And I'm not saying that putting them in the t-shirt was bad or wrong. I don't know, maybe that's a really great way of teaching kids a lesson. But that picture is on the internet. That shameful moment for these kids is on the internet for the entire world to see for the rest of their lives. And I'm just one human in this world that has no consequence, you know, in their lives. I've never met them, but I know about it. And so that kind of shaming, that public humiliation, especially when it's public, I can't get behind that. You know, I don't like that. It doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't feel good. I think, you know, especially with loved ones, shame is a deeply personal and private affair. And I think publicly shaming someone is distasteful, if not wrong. So basically, but let's get off of the verb to shame and let's talk more about the actual object of the shame. Shameful moments cause regret. And I wish, you know, I could be like YOLO, have no shame, have no regret. But that's just not, that's not reality. We all have shame, we all have regret, okay? Shame is a fact of life. Some of us have more of it, some of us have less of it. I don't know what the magic amount of shame is. I know I tend to run guilty. Like, I like to take care of things in the moment because I kind of fester if I feel like I've done something wrong. It's really painful. And it unfortunately happens from time to time. So I think we can all agree that all of us are going to have shame at some point. And I'm talking about the kind of shame, like, well, yeah, we're all going to be humiliated by someone, bullied or whatever. But I'm talking about like that inner conscience that we have, where we know we've done something wrong, or we know we didn't do the right thing, and so we feel bad about it. That's not a good or a bad thing, having shame. It's just a fact of life. So if you have shame, don't feel bad about it. We all have shame. But what we need to be aware of is what we do with that shame. So remember I said that shame can be a powerful tool. If you use these moments of shame to learn a lesson, if you use these moments of shame or regret to increase your empathy and sympathy for other people, and learn how to season your language with salt, and how to become more loving, and how to be a better friend, a better parent, a better human in this world, then that shame, you should not be ashamed of it. Does that make sense? We are all trying to learn and grow. And oh my goodness, I thought of some other examples that I'm just too ashamed to even tell you about. And it's stupid stuff. And it's not even like bad or wrong or evil stuff. It's just stuff of like from my youth where I was just selfish. I was just, we're all just selfish human beings. And it's shameful when you think about those moments when you didn't take other people's, feelings into account. And you didn't mean to maybe hurt them, but you did. Like, those moments are hard, but they're learning tools. It's just like when you're drawing. Those mistakes are important. Your shame is important. These moments of failure in our lives are what make us better. It's how we grow. It's how we improve. That's why old people are supposed to be wise, because they messed up so much. And I heard this really cool quote, and I don't know, I didn't write it down, but it was something like, a master has failed more times than the apprentice has even tried. And that's what it's like if you're willing to address your shame, it is. If you can look at your wrongs and make yourself better, then that shame can be powerful. It can be a tool to make you strong and wise. If you let that shame that you have, that we all have, if you let it eat at your soul and make you like hate yourself, that's not good for anybody. You can't let it, your shame and your regret, you can't let it fester at your soul. You got to keep your light, your heart full of love, even for yourself, especially for yourself. And give yourself some slack and learn a lesson. And, try to learn how to treasure these moments of growth. The other way that you can not use shame properly, I think, is when you bury your head in the sand. I know people who refuse to take a look at their failures. If you can't look at your failures, then you can't grow. And yeah, confronting your own failure, that's a hard business. But if you're not doing it, then you're not growing. So what I want to encourage all of you guys, this is a heavy topic. My goodness, Ivan. What I want to encourage all of you to know is that shame is normal. It's a part of all of our lives. Number 2, I don't think that you should be making anyone feel ashamed intentionally. You can convict them of their shame in a sweet, loving, productive way, but never try to humiliate someone, especially publicly. Number 3, with your shame, you need to learn how to use it as a growing tool, as a productive part of your history, of your past. Make sure that when you look at your failures as a human, when you look at these moments of regret or these moments of cowardice, just try to teach yourself how to have honor, try to teach yourself how to have courage, and learn and grow from these moments. And then the last, what I was saying is, don't dig your head in the sand and refuse to grow. That's not going to help you or anyone in your life. And yeah, you don't have to deal with the uncomfortable business of having regret and shame, but guess what? We all have it. So suck it up, face yourself in the mirror, and then keep your mind positive. Think about how you're going to do better the next time. Make your wrongs right. Go and apologize for things you've done, or go and, fix things that you've done, and grow. Grow ever onward and forward, my babies. So that was a long, kind of heavy discussion. If you want to share, add anything, please comment below. I'm a little uncomfortable with how crazy deep this all got, but I think it's a positive lesson, and I hope I said something that resonated with you. All right, you guys, don't forget to hashtag your drawings with Illustrate Away so that I can continue to get them and share them in my next week's video. So next week is horror in the spirit of Halloween. Please, nothing too graphic or crazy. Just like a fun, playful amount of horror, if you don't mind. I mean, like, I would love to not have anything weird or uncomfortable. But anyway, you guys, happy day. I will see you guys next week. Adios.